Hi, and welcome to World Religions. My name's Tim McKenzie, and I'll be your instructor this semester. Um, just basically, I'd like to make a kind of an introductory video, tell you about a few things that maybe you need to be aware of or think about throughout the semester, just that kind of stuff. As far as it goes, one thing just early on as a preliminary issue is I am updating some of the course. I wish I had gotten everything ready before the semester started, but I don't. And but one thing I want to do is add a little bit more video, maybe update some of the exams, do a few other things to get it kind of a little bit better, a little bit more interesting course. And so I am in the process of doing that. The first module is open and it is fine, but beyond that, I will be updating them. You can work ahead. Everything is open, but what is in there, I would probably be planning on change. I do plan on changing. If you get done with the first module and you want to move on, you might want to email me to say, hey, have you updated it? But my goal is to get the next few modules updated probably before next week, this weekend at the latest. And so most of you won't run into that issue, but I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of forewarning. Some of the dates are incorrect on there, and that's not because that's just part of as I update it, I'll update the dates and other things. As far as it goes, there's also a term paper module. The term paper is a standard item, and that will be offered. But one thing I'm considering doing is maybe offering an opportunity for us to go out and visit maybe a mosque or a synagogue or a Hindu temple or something here in Springfield. Or temple, the Hindu temple is actually in Chatham. But the case is that I'm thinking that might be an alternative to the term paper to go out and do that. But that's something that I need to work out whether or not that's going to function and how well that'll work. So that's just something to keep in mind. As far as it goes, just some preliminary things. Everything is due every 2 weeks on a Monday at 11:59 p.m. Everything is due. But I'm always offer that you can have until noon on Tuesday to get it done before I consider it late. So that's kind of a grace period. It's still due at the end of the day on Monday, but I do offer kind of, like I said, a grace period, and you have until the next day. Now, at the same time, I am a fairly nice person, that I do try to be accommodating and helpful. I realize everybody runs into issues, everybody has problems. So if you have an issue, you have a sick child, you have to work an unexpected shift, things like that, and you just don't get the stuff done, maybe you just forget. Email me. I'm usually pretty accommodating. The only time I'm not accommodating is when you email me like 2 or 3 days after something was due, or the day after something was due, and you go, oh, hey, I forgot all about it. Well, maybe I'll let you do it once, but that's going to be about it. So please kind of stay on top of that. And, if you need to request help, go ahead and that's fine. One thing to keep in mind also, as far as tests go, I will be updating some of the tests and changing them. Some of them will be timed, some of them will not be. If it's more of an essay exam, I probably won't time it, or if I do, it will be a very long time. But for multiple choice tests, in order to avoid you guys looking up answers, I do put time limits on those. You can use your notes, you can look things up, but if you only have an hour to answer 60 questions, you're going to be fairly limited in what you can look up. And so that's kind of the goal, is to have you actually reading and preparing and watching videos beforehand. As far as the term paper goes, I told you I may offer an alternative that I will announce that within the next couple of weeks if I do. But even if you don't want to participate, you can still do the term paper. But I will need to know topics by February 27th. If you think if I end up doing something else different, I will let you know within the next 2 to 3 weeks, but probably before module 1 closes, and that will give you plenty of time to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I would look to see kind of what the term paper is at this point, but don't worry about getting started on it. As far as other issues, every module has a few aspects to keep in mind. One is that every module has several videos, has a textbook reading, things like that. But every module also has an exam, And every module has a reflection. A reflection is just your chance to tell me what you found interesting about the religion, what you liked or disliked. This is your own personal view. There's no requirement. I do require you write, I think it's 300 words, but it might be a little bit more. I forget what exactly I put on there, and I'm not going to look it up at the moment, but I think it's 300 words. And that's just a chance for you to reflect and say, this is what I found interesting. If you're doing Islam, you might say, I never knew all this about Islam. I didn't realize it said this, or I didn't realize it said that. And I really like this idea, and I really like that idea. And I never thought about how it shares such close ties with Islam with Christianity and Judaism. Things like that. As far as the other thing is, there's also a news discussion board. The news discussion board, there's a couple links to religious news websites, but you can find religious news other places. If you see something on CNN, if you see something on, a newspaper or a magazine you read that is a current religious issue, I would like for you to bring it up. And you basically write a synopsis of what the issue is, tell me why you thought it was important, tell me what you think about the topic, and then give a link to the actual article or thing that you read. This is a chance for us to see how some of these religions are actually in the news and affecting people on a daily basis. After you do that, you read other people's entries and you then comment on them. The requirement is that you're supposed to look at those before you go and pick a story. The reason is I don't want 2 or 3 people to do the same story. Now, at the same time, sometimes somebody will begin working on one, then somebody else will do it. And so I do realize sometimes 2 people will have the same topic, but by and large, I would expect that you come up with your own topic, look to make sure nobody's done whatever you're interested in doing, and then write it and offer that as something for the rest of the class to discuss. And you have to comment or respond to at least 2 of the other discussion boards. Those are the main aspects of each module. Each module is a different religion. We start off with kind of primal religions, and then we move on to Hinduism, and then Buddhism. Then we do some of the other Eastern religions, then Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and then alternative religions and atheism. Every one of those will have the reflection, the news discussion board, and that doesn't necessarily relate to the religion. That's just something that's ongoing, and a quiz or exam, and then, of course, readings and videos. As far as it goes, people always ask me, what do I have to do to be successful in this class? Or what do I have to do to be successful in an online class? Maybe they've never taken one. There's sort of 2 things I always tell people that are key to being successful. The first one is in a regular classroom, you meet me every week at a certain time. So if you have a question, it's really easy to ask the question. And maybe if you have a question or you're a little uncertain about something, you can just count on somebody else to ask the question and you get the answer. But with an online class, that's not an opportunity. And so you really need to be proactive. If you have a question, you have a concern, you're not understanding something, you really need to email me. You need to take the time, take that, and actually address me and get that. The other thing is online classes are very easy to forget about. You don't have to be anywhere at a certain time. You don't have to be prepared. And this is true both for your instructors as well as for students. I mean, the reality is like on Tuesday at 10 a.m., I have to be in Litchfield teaching an ethics class. No question about it. So, if I am on Tuesday morning, I'm trying to get something done, I'm probably not going to respond to emails or grade things for this class when I know I have to be standing in front of a group of students in 1 hour. That's going to take priority. And that's very easy for things to do. And so what I do is I do this for myself as well as I say do this for you, is you need to set aside a specific time each week in order to work on your online classes. If you don't have something in your schedule, then you're probably going to forget about it, and that's going to be a problem because you're not going to get enough time to do it. So the 2 things I do say are, don't be afraid to ask questions. Just email me, text me, do whatever, call me, I don't care. And then the second one is set aside specific time in order to work on the class. Final thing, just sort of a just a general thing. A few of the links in the soft chalk, if you click those, they go to like this lesson system. A few of the links that are kind of off to the side, there's sort of a additional reading or something. Some of those don't work, and I have not quite figured out how to remove them. Part of the reason is that a lot of those aspects were actually created by another instructor, a guy by the name of Marty Morris. I think there's a couple videos of Marty in here talking throughout the semester to other people. And Marty Morris died about 2.5 years ago, but he had taught world religions here at Lincoln Land beforehand. It was one of his passions, and he was a very good instructor, very good. And then he got cancer and died fairly quickly. But when he got cancer, I was going to take over his classes, and he let me have them. And so I still use some aspects of them. They become less and less his each year as I make changes. But some of the videos I thought he did a great job with. Some of them are very interesting, and so those remain there as part of it. And so I say that for two reasons. One is just kind of let you know that to give him credit for what he did and how he started it, as well as maybe just kind of let you know, just as you're finding things, you go, what? Who's this? That's who it is. And so keep that in mind. If you have any questions, email me. Don't be afraid to ask. That is the key. Just send an email. Really, at the end of the day, sometimes somebody will email me and they'll say, sorry to bother you with these questions. I hate to be a pest, blah, blah, blah. Most time I don't consider it to be a pest. That's my job. I get paid to talk to you. I get paid to deal with questions. And so I'm usually pretty good at, I'm not going to be upset. Don't think you're annoying me. The only time I might get annoyed is if you're rude, or if you ask me a question that really was easily answerable. Like, what's my grade? Well, look at the grade book. Or, if you're wondering because a grade didn't show up, then you can ask. But if you're just asking some general question like, when's the term paper due? Well, there's a syllabus. That kind of thing. Okay. If you have any questions, email me. Like I said, I welcome them, and good luck, and